Welcome back, folks. Ever heard a gun control comment so outlandish that it left you questioning your sanity? Today, we're diving into a collection of quotes from politicians, celebrities, and public figures that will definitely make you do a double take. In this video, we're going to dissect some of the most nonsensical statements about guns and see if we can make sense of them. These quotes span from laughably naive to downright exasperating, serving as a reminder that when it comes to firearms, common sense can sometimes be nowhere to be found. Let's get started. Number 1. LeBron James. It just goes back to what I said before about guns in America. I think it's such a longer conversation, but we keep dealing with the same story, the same conversation every single time it happens, and it just continues to happen. LeBron James shared his frustrations with gun violence following a tragic shooting, emphasizing the need for change. His point? He's tired of seeing repeated stories of innocent lives lost due to guns, especially in places like schools, markets, and theaters. While his message is heartfelt, it overlooks the deeper issue. Gun violence isn't just about guns. It's about people and responsibility. America already has numerous gun laws on the books. The focus needs to shift from the tool to understanding and addressing the behaviors behind it. Number 2. Representative Louise Slaughter. The Second Amendment only protects the people who want all the guns they can have. The rest of us, we've got no Second Amendment. What are we supposed to do? In a 2013 interview, Representative Louise Slaughter argued that only gun enthusiasts benefit from the Second Amendment, leaving others without protection. But this interpretation misses the mark. The Second Amendment protects everyone's right to self-defense, whether they own a gun or not. You don't lose constitutional rights simply because you don't exercise them, and owning a firearm isn't about hoarding. It's about ensuring protection when it's needed. The idea that rights only apply to those who use them is just absurd. Number 3. California Representative Mike Thompson. Federal law prohibits me from having more than 3 shells in my shotgun when I'm duck hunting. So federal law provides more protection for the ducks than it does for citizens. During a 2013 press event unveiling new gun control legislation, Representative Thompson used this line to highlight a supposed inconsistency in federal laws. According to him, the government cares more about protecting ducks than human lives, suggesting the need for stricter gun laws. The problem? Ducks and people aren't exactly interchangeable. Hunting regulations exist to maintain wildlife populations, not civil rights. Imagining a scenario where hunting people is even up for debate is about as realistic as a horror movie plot. And while the line got some laughs, it didn't do much for the logic of gun policy. Number 4. Senator Dianne Feinstein. We have federal regulations and state laws that prohibit hunting ducks with more than 3 rounds. And yet it's legal to hunt humans with 15-round, 30-round, even 150-round magazines. Senator Feinstein, a proponent of the assault weapons ban, once stated that hunting laws for ducks are stricter than those for human safety. Her logic is simple. If we're willing to regulate hunting, we should be willing to regulate high-capacity magazines. But her analogy falls flat when you remember that the Second Amendment isn't about hunting. The right to bear arms was written with self-defense in mind, not hunting ducks. The focus shouldn't be on magazine sizes, but rather on the fact that responsible gun owners use these tools for protection, not offense. Number 5. Jay Moore. Enough. Second Amendment must go. Violence has to stop. Culture must change. Actor Jay Moore took to Twitter after the Boston Marathon bombing, arguing for the repeal of the Second Amendment. He claims the gun culture fuels violence, suggesting that the amendment supports it. But here's the kicker. The Boston attack didn't even involve guns. It was carried out with homemade bombs. It's a leap in logic to blame the Second Amendment for acts of terror that have nothing to do with guns. People who legally own guns aren't responsible for every instance of violence in the country, and removing the right to self-defense doesn't magically stop those who intend harm. Number 6. Bill Clinton. My own view is that you can go to the extreme in either direction. And when we got organized as a country, it was assumed that the Americans who had that freedom would use it responsibly. Former President Bill Clinton shared his thoughts on freedom and responsibility, noting that our Constitution gives Americans significant freedoms, including gun rights. However, he questioned whether those freedoms are sometimes misused in modern society. While not directly calling out the Second Amendment, Clinton's words suggest that personal freedoms could benefit from some limitations. But remember, the Constitution isn't a permission slip. It's a government framework that ensures individual rights. Just because some people don't exercise those rights responsibly doesn't mean they should be taken from everyone. And there you have it, some of the most bizarre anti-gun quotes, showing just how much misinformation surrounds the Second Amendment. From politicians misinterpreting hunting regulations to celebrities pinning society's problems solely on firearms, these statements remind us of the importance of staying informed and cutting through the noise. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe and think critically.